Salama family, Salama. Do me a favor and put a one in the chat if you can hear me. Please put a one in the chat if you can hear me. Y'all know it has been crazy because y'all know when we talk about time zones and we're talking about all kinds of problems with technology. Technology has been acting crazy for me lately. But okay, awesome. Y'all can hear, y'all can hear. Thank you so much for your patience. Do me a favor, if you haven't already hit that like button, feel free to hit that like button so we can get more people in the building, as well as to subscribe. If you are not already subscribed to this channel, please definitely do so. I am so excited about what is for me this evening, but what is for like afternoon, evening, but what is for my sister, like, it's a little later on her end. But we were having some connection issues, but I'm so glad y'all worked it out. Thank y'all so much for your prayers. And we're going to have a phenomenal conversation. This sister of mine, I've known her for a while. And I can just tell you, I've seen her progression, her growth. Many of you who are coming over to this channel are coming from her channel. And I'm very grateful to have all of you, family. Y'all welcome in our visitors from Ivie Anita's channel. And we're just excited to have y'all because we're going to have a phenomenal conversation, a phenomenal discussion about connecting those of us that are spread out in the diaspora, right? Whether we're in America, the UK, the Caribbean, like myself, wherever we are, Australia, wherever we are, spread out to the continent. There's so much controversy when it comes to us, these melanated folk that we are, the house of Yasharal. There is a lot of division, derision. We even know it's prophetic that a lot of this would take place because of what the word says about the children of Israel. But we also know we are in a time when the Most High is connecting. He is rebuilding and bridging the gap between the two houses, between Israel and between Judah. And he's bringing our brothers and sisters along the way. So we're going to have a phenomenal conversation with my sister Ivie Anita. And I'm going to go ahead and bring her in, and then we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to turn off my mic, and then we're going to get started. So, all right, family. EVA, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Hi.
Hallelujah. Hey, girl. How you doing? How you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. Good
or
evening.
good morning.
Right, for
I
you.
don't even know.
So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go through some of these comments real quick before we get started because you got a lot of people who have been so excited about this. I want to say shalom to my sister, 78 Vet. She says, what a treat. I really like her channel. Absolutely. If you're not subscribed to EVA, you definitely need to do so. We got Morven up in here, says, looking forward to this. He says, he saw the ad, right? He saw the ad for my book on one of your videos, which is awesome. And we'll talk about that as well. Thank you so much for doing that, sis. Charlotte Jefferson, shalom. Jason Camphor, shalom. My brother Damon up in the building, Elephant Man Podcast Network, shalom, peace and blessings to you. Malka Bat Yisrael, shalom to you. Absolutely. My brothers, Teo Ministries, this should be good indeed. Peace and blessings to y'all. Cam 2 player up in the building, Auntie. All right, that's what I'm talking about. We've got Judean Warrior, shalom, shalom. Stacy Pullum, shalom to you. Charlotte Ben Yasharal, shalom unto you. And yes, Malka, this is going to be an epic build. Hallelujah. Glory to the Most High for that. Sister Mariah M up in the building. That's Mama Mariah for me. Peace and blessings to you. See ya. Shalom, shalom. Jessica Figure, shalom to you. My sis, Ruama up in the building. I'm getting through this, y'all. Family. Zeki up in the building. Peace and blessings, sis. Van P, shalom, shalom. Let's see who else we have up in here today. All right, we got Shauna Shade up in the building. Peace and blessings to you. We got lovely Africa. Shalom, shalom. Glad to have you here. All right, who else do we have here? Onayiche. Yes, this is going to be good, sis. Peace and blessings. I'm glad to have you up in here. Shar Seram joining us from Ghana. Yes, I know them time zone issues. My bad. I appreciate you for being here. NMOG, can't wait. Peace and blessings. No more waiting here. All right, Kenneth Wilkerson, salama to you. My brother, Karis Copeland, up in the building. We've got Bwana Haguziki. Please forgive me. I don't want to mess up your name, but I apologize if I did. We've got Lively Stone 777, Carl John. All right, almost all the way down. Let's take a look. We got 1619 Brood. Shalom. All right. He's been rubbing his hands together, not because it's cold, but welcome to you, EVA. Forgiven daughter of the Most High, Shalom to you. Ellie J. Dotson, peace and blessings. Abbott Cole, peace and blessings. Ian Thompson, faithful sister and y'all, peace and blessings. John Tony. And we're getting ready to get started. Shalom to you. All right, my sister. So you got a group of people up in here. They are ready for this build, and I am as well. So we're going to go ahead and get right in on it. First and foremost, I want to say an amazing congratulations to you for just last week hitting 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. Congratulations to you. That is so
Thank you,
exciting.
sis. Thank you. Honestly, I don't even know how it happened, but it happened. And
But
I'm
it
super grateful. Thank you very much.
You are so welcome. Now, I've known you for more than a year now. And
Yes.
when we first met, I think you had roughly 10,000 subscribers. And
Yes.
we were in the back office and we were kind of talking about our vision behind starting our channels. And it was me and another sister that you had brought on. And we're getting like super deep, right? We're like, yeah, because we want to see community change. We want to see our people transform. And I said, sis, why you start your channel? You were like, you know what? I wanted to have fun. And I said, you want to have fun and got 10,000 subscribers? That's awesome.
Yeah.
So tell me
That's
about
how it
that.
started. It's just recently I say my channel happens to me. I think that's the best way I can word it right now because I honestly don't know what happened there, sis, but it happened.
It happened. It really happened. And you know that, I mean, it's amazing because, when I think about all that you've done over this last year, and, I've been following your channel very closely. And when I think about your progression over this last year, it seems to me, just on the outside, that it went from fun to being an amazing mission. And you're touching people's
Yeah.
lives all over the world. How about that for you?
It's been great, and I never would have thought that I would do this or I would be doing this, but it's just from a channel that I created just because I want to make content
Mhm.
um, without a goal really. When I created that channel, at first I created the channel in 2016 and I never made any videos ever till 2020 to, towards the end of 2020. I think I made one or two, but then I just didn't make any again till 2021. Around June, July, that was when I was like, okay, maybe I should, start doing something really. And the way it started is just, it's crazy. I made a video in July, just one video. I was on TikTok and then I saw what was going on with black content creators on TikTok going on a strike. And when I saw that, I was like, yeah, they were going on a strike because white creators were taking their content and not giving credits. And so they went on that strike then in July to, you know, like a protest, right?
Mhm.
So when I saw that, I was like, oh, this is great. I'm happy they are doing this because I've been seeing situations like that play over time, over time, over time. I'm like, okay, maybe I should make a video on this. And at the time I had July last year, I had just, I think it was 99 subscribers, and it was just my friends, family members, and stuff. And so I made that video saying kudos, like I could sign this thing that's happening with this strike, what African Americans were doing on TikTok. And that was it. The video just went viral and the rest was history. So that's how
Yes.
I got here basically.
I remember that video, and that was really, really awesome because was it to me it symbolized this unity that all of us are thirsting for. It's like we know that we as a people that we are so talented, we know we're so skillful, and we know at the
Yeah.
same time that I say the others they have used our abilities, our talents, and our skills to monetize for their benefit. And
Mhm.
we have received so little on the back end of it. And so when you put that video forth and you're showing, like, listen, this is the discriminatory practices that have happened to us as a people, and specifically to those of us who are Black Americans, that's happened to us, and now there is a quiet unification. It almost like
Mhm.
sparks something inside of us to say, you know what? We need more of this. We need to be much more unified than we are, because we can all see the game we're in. We can all see what's being played on us. So that is awesome that that video went viral. Now we're going to go back into your story a bit, because you are a native of Nigeria. And, being that you are from Nigeria, I definitely want to understand your experience culturally in light of the fact that you're directly on the continent versus us who have been so removed by generations from the continent. What was your experience like growing up?
Okay. Basically, how would I put this? It's So I was born into an average Nigerian family, right? And it was just, another day in Africa every day, or another day in Nigeria every day, just doing what we usually do. And the struggle is there, of course, but you know, just living. Basically, you wake up in the morning, you go to school, you come back, and just normal everyday human stuff, basically. And the dream to want to get, your life together, and build something better for yourself and your family. But overall, everybody's thinking about how can the country be better, and how can we get better government, and how can the continent overall be better. So that was basically it. But when it comes to, you know
Okay,
getting
can
aware.
you hear me now? Can you hear me now, sisters? You went out for a minute.
Okay, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. You were saying that you grew up in an average Nigerian family and then you went out.
Okay, yes. So, average Nigerian family, it was, just basically the normal, I would say, human experience. You go to school, you go to church, you do your chores, and just dream about how things can be better for your family and for the country and for the continent. For those watching, I'm Nigerian. I don't know if that has been said. I'm Nigerian. So in Nigeria, I just it's same as, I believe, every other place. Just people being people and doing people stuff, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But
Okay.
then you want to add something?
No, no, go ahead.
Yeah. But then when it comes to, I don't know if I should tie this now into, being aware of African Americans, or if maybe you have a question that's going to build up to that.
Yeah, I wanted to know, like, in terms of just your experience growing up, did you have an understanding of what colonialism looked like? Do you have an understanding? Like, was your experience being there now compared to what you see, the Black American experience? Was it similar or was it vastly different?
Hmm. Vastly, it was vastly different.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm in Nigeria, Western Africa, and in Western Africa, the idea is different from what was happening in the Americas. But what's closely related to what was happening in the Americas would be what happened in Southern America, and maybe those in the Congo. But from the western part that I was in Nigeria, it's vastly different. I mean, for God's sakes, when it even comes to colonialism, it's sad to say and it's unfortunate, really, but we did not really get taught in Nigeria now. Let me not speak on the whole continent or the whole of West Africa, specifically Nigeria, where I'm from. We did not really get taught what colonialism really was,
Okay.
and what it was all about. And they did not go into details. And sadly, so it was taught to us somehow, like, to make us feel like it was even a good thing that it happened. And some of you might be wondering why this is, but this is because the educational system in Nigeria is literally still what was left by colonial hoodlums. I'm sorry, I don't call them masters because they are not my masters. So
Amen.
it's what was left by the colonial hoodlums that is still being taught to kids. So you only get to learn after That's if you are even curious as to exactly what happened on this continent. Because there are Africans that believe that colonialization was a good thing because the schools told them that, and that's because the colonial hoodlums, dropped that curriculum and made them believe that it was a good thing. You were uncivilized, you were barbaric, and we came and saved you, and we brushed you up. You should be grateful we came. So there is this mindset, and that's being taught in schools.
Wow.
And like I said, you only get to know the truth
Hmm.
after, like later on. That's if you're even curious. They're adults. There are people that are going to die thinking, people that are close to their grave and about to die, even that still think it was a good thing that colonialized it. Why is that word hard for me to pronounce this night? Colonial was a good thing, you get. And then when you think about the transatlantic slavery, that wasn't, in my opinion, it wasn't taught at all. From my own experience in school, they just told us that, oh, there was once a time that slavery happened. They came and took some people, but it ended. There was no detail. There was no information really as to how bad it was or how bad it was going in the Americas. It was just like, oh, it happened, but then ended, and now everybody is living happily ever after. Now it's a kumbaya society. So there's really no information going on, no real education going on as regards to all of that. You only get to know after, years after, as an adult. And again, it's for people that are even curious to know, or people that stumble onto the information by chance that would actually get to know. So, but that's why I'm grateful for social media, because a lot of work now is being done on social media, especially TikTok. I mean, the thing that's happening on TikTok, oh my God, it's marvelous what's going on there, because people are educating people now. We are connected in a way that we've not been connected before, via the internet and social media. So I'm in Nigeria and watching African Americans talk about their history. Nigerians in Nigeria that are aware about the true history are talking about history, and then the unaware people are getting educated. So a lot of positives have been going on in the internet realm, and I'm very
Yes.
grateful for that. Yeah, but as regards like what is being taught in schools, no, nothing like that.
That's very
No.
interesting. That's very interesting that you talked about the dynamics of education in Nigeria. And, like my brother here says, you weren't taught, it's like, wow, that's something else. Well, see, it's kind of like when we were growing up in school, we were taught a lot of quote unquote history, but from the standpoint of 1619 and chattel slavery. And it was ingrained in our heads from our youth, about what happened to our ancestors during slavery. And along the way, we would hear about the triumphant slaves, or the triumphant enslaved. I don't want to call them slaves. Like, for example, we'd hear stories about George Washington Carver, the inventor, or Benjamin Banneker. We would have stories about Harriet Tubman, which, definitely shout out to the warriors then, who did an amazing job in freeing our people from chattel slavery. Frederick Douglass, and then of course when we move outside of what happened during the chattel slavery era into what took place afterwards with the black codes and what took place during the civil rights era. We didn't even know about Black Wall Street, right? It was like almost like a gap in history for a long time for us. And we got civil rights, and we got Martin Luther King Jr., we got Rosa Parks. But when it came to understanding particularly what happened to us before we got to America and what happened to us in West Africa, there was so there was pretty much zero information that was taught to us. Okay, we had no understanding at all of what happened to us as a people. Okay, and so when we had a idea of what Africa was, it was presented to us as a country, not a continent.
Mm,
Okay, and I mean, at most we had, our biggest thing was Alex Haley's The Roots. Okay, we had that 4-part series, right? But whenever we looked on television, we would see these little children with elongated faces and extended bellies with flies flying around them. And for less than a cup of coffee a day, we could go and we could support a little child in the country of Africa. And this was the extent. This was the extent of what we saw, the imagery of what we now know today as 54 countries in the continent of Africa, and vastly different. East Africa, different from West Africa, different from South Africa, different from North Africa. We did not have an understanding of the great civilizations that were built up. And so it's like it's exactly as Ian said. They purposely kept us ignorant. And when it comes to what they did when you were in school, is that they made you feel almost like a Stockholm syndrome way, like, oh, well, you should be happy that we're here to what's the word that I'm looking for? Civilize you out of your savage state. Is that what you're communicating? That's kind of
Yes.
the mindset
Yes.
of wow.
Yes, that's the mindset. You know, these civilizations you're even talking about now, the ones you just referred to.
Mhm.
We don't know about that. The great city of Benin and the empires, and what was happening in Ghana and their empires, and Mali, and how the University of Timbuktu,
Mhm.
all
Mhm.
of that, not nothing. They made our history to start from colonization,
Mm.
almost as if we were nothing before they came.
Mm.
As a matter of fact, they made it so that we were nothing before they came. So they discovered us, they civilized us, and they help us come out of the dark place, and be um not barbaric and savages that they call us all the time. You
Mm.
get? So it's that's literally the situation, basically, and it's very sad. And as I speak to you till this day,
Mhm.
that's still what is being taught in schools.
Mm. Mm. To
So
this day, taught in schools.
till till this day,
Wow. Wow.
it's very sad what's happening here with the educational system. That's why people want to desperately want be something other than what they are. People have a certain perception of their African identity and their cultures. Um, yeah, I'll just stop talking here so you can go.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I'm just taking in everything that you're saying because it puts some perspective to some of the things that we've been seeing like more frequently now. I definitely agree with you when it comes to social media. We have definitely gained a wealth, a plethora of new understanding of what happened to each of us. But a few years ago, there was this push from the media that, again, Africa, looking at it as a whole, not looking at specific countries in Africa, specific nations, but Africa as a whole was having an issue when it came to um, skin bleaching and trying to
Oh,
have a Western approach. Is that true? Is that what's really been taking place, like through the whole continent, or is this just pockets of people who have tried to adopt to Western standards of beauty?
um, how can I put this now? Okay, so I cannot speak on the whole continent.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I'll try to narrow down to Nigeria as much as I can, so I don't speak over others and their experiences. But what I would say is that there is the white superiority mindset. Mm?
Yes.
It's it's in the minds of Africans. And this is not me saying that all Africans think whites are superior, but there is this subtle behind your mind. I mean, you're not consciously thinking about it, but subconsciously, there is this, you feel like they're better, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the strive to want to be as close to as possible, it's there. You see that with when people naming their kids English names. You see that with people wanting to be as light as possible. And when it comes to people wanting to be as light as possible, I don't necessarily know if I can say they want to be white, but of course it's tied to the history of whiteness is better that
Mm-hmm.
came with colonization, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're not necessarily, bleaching their skin so they can be white, but the idea that if you are lighter, it's better, it's finer, it's more appealing, it's beautiful, it's more beautiful than blackness. It still all leads back to colonization and that sad history that we have to deal with now. But yes, it's prevalent in the continent or on the continent. Recently, was it Mali that recently banned? They had to ban bleaching creams. I even made a video on that. I hope I'm getting the country right. I think it's Mali. So it's a problem. It's a real problem. You sometimes, some people have really damaged their skin. You see them having various colors, and sunburn here and there, and you can see veins that you're not even sure if people are supposed to have veins with that complexion, but it's crazy.
Now,
I don't know what the percentage is, but there are, and the white Jesus status in
yeah.
Abuja.
Mm-hmm. I was going
Yeah,
to ask you, do you think that this is prevalent as to why it is that this idea of whiteness being better has caused a lot of our brothers and sisters over there to long for this lighter skin?
I think it's a contributing factor,
Mm-hmm.
not on the highly subconscious level, but subconsciously. That's why I said earlier that at the back of their mind, somehow, they're not necessarily always thinking about it, but it's there somewhere. You get so,
And deep in the
um,
subconscious, deep in the
yeah,
sub.
in the subconscious. Yes.
Now, my sister Carol is actually out there right now. She's in South Africa. She's going to be making her way to East Africa. And just from what she's seeing with her personal experiences now, she's saying the young kids can't even pronounce their own surnames or speak their native tongue. And that's because they have English, they've adopted English names. Is that why that would be the case, in your opinion?
So this is something that I have not been able to admit publicly before because I'm highly embarrassed by it. But I too can speak my language. I
Mm.
can't.
You sounded
Yeah,
like you were
that's
speaking your language the other day on that video. I said,
I
hold on a
can't. I can make like expressions, make small sentence here and there, but can I speak the language?
second.
I can't. And I'm ashamed of this fact. And it's highly embarrassing and it's sensitive for me. I have never been able to come online and say this is something that I cannot do.
Yeah.
But I can't. And I'm not the only one. There are millions others who can't.
Hmm. Yeah.
Because you see, it's the westernization of the African people, it's a real thing.
Hmm.
I made a video today on TikTok and I was asking, who are we really? Thank you, Ann Thompson. I shouldn't be, but I am. I think I should be, but I don't know. um,
We, we,
so
we
you,
all we're all right there with you then, because we don't know our language, and we have our slave what you call them, slave thugs, that we have we have their last names, and that's when you say, you shouldn't be ashamed, but there is so much that comes with that, because you don't
yeah,
know who you are to the fullness
I
when
don't.
when it's been snatched from you. I feel you,
No,
sis. Nobody is judging you. Trust me, we're not, because we're in the same boat as you.
thank you, thank you. So it's real. As regards to that comment, I was speaking about the names and the language. It's true. There are, you come by some Africans and they have two English names,
Hmm.
two English names. For first name and for surname, you come by Africans and they have two Arab names or Arabic names, first name, surname. Imagine someone bearing Miriam Yusuf and you are a West African, or you are bearing Abel Samson on this continent. You were born here, your fathers were born here, your forefathers were born here. Like, who are we really at the end of the day, right? Are we Arabs? Are we Europeans? Do we even know who we are, right?
Right.
So there's the one thing that I'm very particular about, that I wish I would be able to get, is to marry someone who can speak their language, because there are chances that you might marry someone who can speak their language. So you will not be able to pass on language to your kids. Or are you going to now go hire someone to come teach your kids your language? So the only consolation I have now at this point, that I try to comfort myself with, is I hope I marry someone who can speak their language so I can learn his language and, teach the kids the language. And I'm so desperate now at this point that I'm like, I don't even care if it's my own language. I don't care if it's any languages from Nigeria. I just want to be able to speak one African language. I don't care if it's Zulu or Tosa, or just something to feel closer to this continent as I can. I mean, I was born and bred here, but you can just imagine how insane it is. But yeah, this is
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, that's no, I get it. That's amazing. And the fact that you want to do that, that's awesome, because I'm gonna be honest with you, there are a lot of Black Americans who hold heavy to the name, right? They hold heavy to the slave thug's last name, and what they'll say is, well, it's not so much that we're holding to that name that was given to us, but the history that we developed since post that name being given to us. That's what we're honoring. But for
Yeah,
me, I'm looking at it like, I understand that from a degree, but I want to know who I am. I want to know who I am before all of that happened, before all the atrocities happened. I'm very grateful that in the scriptures that Yahusha says that he will give us a new name, and that, that no man knows. And I'm grateful for that, because when we think about, like someone commented earlier, that white supremacy is global, it's affected us in
true.
different ways. But at the same time, it went for the same results, which is to completely cut us off from the understanding of who we are, especially those of us, over the last, since 20,000 to 2000, 16, who have really just come into this awakening of our Israelite identity. My goodness, that has like changed our lives, because as far as we knew, we were just the color of a crayon, right? We were Black. And so, not that we had an issue with being Black, because we understood that the Black experience was a unique experience in America. There was so much that our forefathers and our foremothers had to endure just for us to get the little bit at the table that we have today. Now, I don't know if you understand even the economics of how it works in America, but during slavery, our people owned 1.6% of the nation's wealth, like right after slavery, 1.6% of the nation's wealth. Today in 2022, we own a whopping 2.6% of the nation's wealth. We coming on up, okay?
Mm,
We coming up on the east side, okay? In a deluxe apartment in the sky with 2.6% of the nation's wealth. We own nothing here. We own nothing, and it's been in play for hundreds of years to keep us as the permanent underclass, keep us in a place where we are continually um, ignorant to the knowledge of self. Everything that we do and that we accomplish as a people, okay, it is either hidden from us, stolen from us, or it is monetized, like we talked about earlier with the original TikTok video that you put on your channel. It is monetized by the others. It's adapted and adopted by them as though it came from them, and then they make money off of it. It's one of the most damaging, soul damaging things that could have happened to us as a people, is to not know who we are, and to be in a place where we can't even prosper, because we are still subjugated under a system that will do anything and everything to keep the status quo. And that status quo, of course, is that of the institution of white supremacy. Now, I want to say this, and I've said this many, many, many times before on my channel. White supremacy is not the institution of white people. White supremacy is an institution that is adopted by multiple ethnic groups. You have white supremacist Asians, you have white supremacist Arabs, you even have white supremacist black people. Like some people were saying, someone was saying in the comment section about Kanye West and Candace Owens wearing
Owens.
that shirt that said "White Lives
White
Matter."
lives matter. I saw that picture this morning, and my head. Oh my god, I did not even know where to start from my emotions, because I was like, okay, I know you guys do what you do, especially with Candice. But what's with this shirt? Like this is just you going overboard, so unnecessary. When have white lives not mattered? When?
If they put on "White Lives Not Matter," they can go ahead and just close their bank account because it's going to be $0 in their account tomorrow. Okay.
This is what happens when you how can I say this, when you build your career, or when you are a sellout, you literally just have to do anything and say anything that they want you to do and say, and roll how they want you to roll, because that's the only way you continue to move forward.
Absolutely. That's exactly
Basically
right.
it.
It's getting the bag. It's grifting, but at the same
Yeah.
time, it's damaging us as a people because, as I spoke about earlier, when it comes to our unification, just if we look at the pockets, like where we're dispersed right now, right? We look at Black Americans just trying to unify as Black Americans. That in itself, after 400 years, is still to this day, it is one of the biggest, most difficult things to see happen because there's so much. People like to say, well, we're not all a monolith. I get that we're not all a monolith, and I understand that some of us have different experiences. We don't all have the same levels of oppression and hardship, but collectively, as a group of people, we're not prospering. Even if you took Oprah Winfrey and you take all the NBA players and you take all the Black musicians and actors and actresses, it still would not be able to suffice for the fact that we are in a financial deficit, that we are a people who are locked in majority into ghettos. They're not showing that to y'all though over on the continent. What is the imagery that they're showing you in the continent on mainstream media about Black Americans?
Yeah. Growing up, oh my god, growing up, the American dream,
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
it was sold, and we bought it, and we bought it hard. So America is this paradise where the streets are shiny. If you go there, you might even be picking money from the streets, because everybody is doing well, and um yeah, it's heaven on earth. No bad representation whatsoever. African Americans are doing great. I mean, I did not even know that there was anything called racism till I was like 18, thereabouts. I never knew what that was.
Wow.
And growing up watching American entertainment, of course, like a South African sister said, and she said it best, white supremacy and all their antics, and they don't reveal themselves. You have to go out of your way to expose them.
Mm-hmm.
So of course their entertainment is beautiful, it's flawed. So we don't even know exactly what's going on in America. So we want to come to America because America, it's that's the place where you are supposed to be. So yeah, watching American entertainment is and then coming to find out that, oh my god, it's all a lie. You can imagine how you can imagine how I felt. So yeah, it, it's crazy.
What did y'all watch there? What did y'all watch any sitcoms like Fresh Prince
Oh
of
yes,
Bel Air or Martin?
yes, yes. So watching that, I was madly in love with Michael Jackson growing up. I was watching Barney and Friends, the kids plays, and their movies, Nickelodeon, all of that. We're
Wow.
watching everything.
Okay, okay. So, well, they showed y'all. They showed you the same media we were watching, but that
Yeah,
wasn't the story. It's that's all.
it
That's
wasn't.
all fiction. Okay.
Oh, oh my God. See,
I got a
see,
question here from Johnson. He says, "Did you know about Marcus Garvey, Malcolm Martin, rap?"
I only knew about Martin Luther King, and that
Okay.
was after I knew about him um somewhere around the time where I found out about racism, and that was when I was 18.
Hmm.
So I only yeah, I didn't know.
Wow. Wow. So, it's just it's a very interesting thing to see the disconnect and see how much is hidden. And like my brother Damon here said, he said they don't even show the prosperous major cities on the continent either. Just a bunch of lions and
No.
tigers running.
Yes, anytime they want to show the continent, they have to open with the safari and the dried leaves and the lions and giraffes and elephants, because
Yes.
that's all Africa is about. So it's all
Yes.
about the information that they were giving both of us. They give you the wretched Africa, then they give us the America that is perfect. So you don't want to come to Africa,
Mhm.
but we all want to come to America.
Mm. Mm.
You
Yeah,
see that?
I like what you just said there. We don't
Yes.
want to go to Africa, but y'all want to come to America. Now,
Yeah.
now, now, see that is exactly succinctly what has happened. We as a people, you hear so many Black Americans in private conversations that they're like, I don't want to go to Africa. They will look at you and say, what you want to go to Africa for? Because again, in their minds, especially the older Black community, they're still with that imagery in their mind that for one, Africa's a country, not a continent, and two, when there's imagery painted, it is painted of tribal wars. For example, there was a movie, Hotel Rwanda. Okay, so that's how we learned about the Tutsis and Sunnis. That's how we knew about that. I know who a Tutsi or a Sunni was before Hotel Rwanda, and it was this South African apartheid with Nelson Mandela. Okay, but it was always this: you want to stay far away from that scary place over there, because if you don't, they're going to chop you up with a machete and they're going to hurt you. Stay right here where you're at. And at the same time, EVA, they would tell us whenever we did not like the treatment we were receiving in America, well, why don't you just go back to Africa
Go
then?
back to Africa.
That's what we hear, and we're like, hold on a second. Like, okay, you're playing mind games with me. You're really playing mind games. All right. I believe this is Brother Yacoba. Correct me if I'm wrong, my brother. The Tayor Yacoba says, is there any thought of the African youth taking back power on the continent from the colonizers? Excellent question. And by
Hmm.
and by the way, Tail, and this is just for Tail. If you would like to come in, you are welcome to come in. I'm going to put the link in the chat for you. Go ahead.
The African youths. Where would I even start from? I strongly believe there is hope for Africa. I desperately need to believe that. And I want to see the change that I dream of before, hopefully, if I can, before I depart this world, before my time here is over. It would be my biggest dream come true. But the youth of this continent, we have a lot of work to do. First of all, I feel like they don't even know for a fact what their problem is. And this is not me casting them online, it's just me stating the facts. Okay, because you can't continue, hiding stuff that needs to be addressed, right? Some people might watch this and say, oh, if he is casting the youths of the continent, but if the youths of the continent needs to be casted so they can change, it's something we need to do.
Mm-hmm.
You see, the mindset that we have needs to be worked on.
Yeah.
And the various different mindsets and ideals that we have that we should not have. Um, Take, for example, let me tell you what's presently happening on TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
With the present issues that we have on this continent with insecurity. Okay, maybe not the whole continent. Nigeria, there's a little bit of insecurity going on with hunger. Hunger is a world problem with bad governments. Imagine Africans on TikTok complaining about which country is the best as per I want to be better than you. I want to Nigeria this, Ghana that, and I'm like, is this the problem now? Some countries have leaders that have been there on the let's even call it a throne now because they've taken it as monarchy or something. They don't want to leave, and it's not like they are good leaders or something.
Right.
Um, we have lots of puppets. So why are we not addressing all these issues? Why are we still being distracted by irrelevant topics like what country on TikTok has a a filter with their with their flag?
Mm,
It's that is that the problem on this continent, right?
is
Oh, there is serious mind drain going on. Everybody's running, especially in Nigeria. Everybody's running away from the continent and from the country, and I cannot blame them because it's natural human instinct to want to get a better life for yourself and your family. So why are people running away? We need to talk about this. We need to fix the problem, but there are Africans who are just distracted by fun stuff and unnecessary things. And this is not me saying you cannot have fun. Of course, we need fun because we need something to be able to distract us once in a while from the issues at hand. But when it comes down to the problems that we have, and we have many problems, if we can see the youth be more sensible, you would know there is hope. But sometimes you just see the youths and you're like, these are supposed to be the leaders of tomorrow. I'm so scared for the tomorrow because look at them, right?
mm,
So the youths of this continent, we have a lot of work to do.
yeah.
We have to be focused because we're lacking focus. We have to be educated. There is I'm not saying Africans are not educated, but we have been miseducated from a very young age. A lot of rubbish has been put into our heads
Yes.
that's presently affecting how we navigate the world today. All that needs to be trash, like the indoctrination, the Western mindsets that we have. You cannot be an African and you want to. It's just I feel like sometimes we are the black people with white mindsets. Some of the ideals that we carry is literally white supremacy ideals. Um, we have a lot of work to do. Let me end there. I feel like I'll be going on forever.
No, it's okay. And you are, definitely doing the work. And that's why we're so excited, about seeing your progression because being that you're there and seeing that you are willing to be educated about what's been happening with us as a people outside of the continent and bring us together and bridge that gap is something that we desperately need. Now I'm going to welcome in my brother Yakoba from Teo Ministries. Brother, how you doing?
Hey, Sister Shana, how you doing? How you doing, Evie?
Hi, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Good, we're good. So, it's funny because EVA and I were having a conversation the other day because on one of your lives, you were sharing a video of hers about specifically about Uganda. And I was so excited. I was like, yes, this needs to get out. And I know that you do so much work on the continent. EVA, he works with the Dry Bones Project. Him and his brother through Teo Ministries have started the Dry Bones Project, which is an initiative out in East Africa to bridge the gap between, of course, the diaspora here and what's going on over there. And that they're partnered with T3 and Me. Shout out to them. Shout out to Stepping Stones to Home. That's my family right there. And also Journey with Us. So they do so much work when it comes to bridging the gap. And I just want to give him an opportunity to come in and speak with you and share his thoughts and opinions and ask some questions.
Yeah, I
Okay.
watch you all the time, Evie, and I'm glad to see people on the continent waking up now. We have issues over here as well. There's a lot of people here who don't consider themselves African, right? They think they're native to America and stuff like that. We got people who say, well, we're not African, we're Israelites or whatever. but I mean, they don't understand that Israelites are Africans, right? But and I don't know if you know about the whole what we call the awakening, right? That's people who are of African descent, who are Bantu descent. We believe ourselves to be the biblical Israelites, and so we have what we call an awakening, and so there's a connection back to the continent because the scriptures say that uh, the northern tribes and the southern tribes are going to become one again. And so at Tail Ministry, we've been, and Sister Shauna can tell you, we've been teaching this way since 2015 to 16, and a lot of the stuff is coming to pass. And so when we see you all waking up as well, right, we predict that our return back to the continent is near. So what do you think of that? Are you familiar with the Israelite awakening at all?
Okay, yes. I recently got wind of the Israelites conversations. I think sometime last year. I'm still new to that. I'm not I'm not exactly sure really. Um, but yes, I am kind of aware. Yeah.
Yeah, because I recently did a teaching about the traditions of what we call Africans and how what we see in the scriptures is African traditions, like it's called the bride price. And so
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times we read the Bible from a Eurocentric, mainly I know on the continent, African tradition. I mean, not African Catholic tradition, Catholic tradition. And so it's Europeanized, but when you read it, you're seeing nothing but African wedding traditions, right? And that's what the Bible's talking about. So we're sort of excited because, those of us who are conscious of our African heritage are excited because we know we're about to come home. And Sister, I don't know if you heard of Ericana Chiambore Quo, and she had the ADDI project, which is, and I don't know if she knew we Israel at all. She just believed that the diaspora is supposed to come back home and help build the continent. And I think that's the case as well. I think when we return, a lot of these people, colonizers, they're going to leave because they don't like us. And when we get there, they're going to leave because we remind them of what they've done to us and what their ancestors have done to us. And so I think it's very highly important that the awakening, right, continues on the continent. I mean, it is according to the scriptures, but we're excited to see you all stepping forward and showing, your heritage and your culture and your traditions and wanting to speak your language because we want our language back as well, whatever it is. Like you said, where I don't care what language it is. If it's African, I want it. You know.
Yeah. That's nice. Thank you very much for that. Yes, of course, the awakening is it's happening slowly but surely on the continent. We are beginning to see a wave of Africans come up. Like I said earlier when I was speaking with Sister Shanda, we are really using a good number of us are really using social media to spread awareness and make content to decolonizing content and liberating content and trying to tell Africans, oh, what you were told is not true. We were this and we were that. You were lied to, right? Stop believing all they have to, all they told us because those were lies. So people are doing the work. Minds are being liberated. I recently started making videos on TikTok. It's different from the videos I make on YouTube because that has like a different agenda entirely. The videos I make on YouTube is to here's the thing. So I found out about racism at 18, and then I was shocked. There is that because at 18, I never knew. I think I was 18, 17, 19, thereabout somewhere. I never knew what racism was. Never heard the word in my entire life. Racism, racists. I don't know what that is. So I stumbled upon it on the internet, and it took me a while to be able to grasp what the idea is to hate someone because of their complexion. It's weird. I could not understand it, but eventually I got around and I understood, and then I started learning and reading African American history, reading about slavery, because like I said earlier, that wasn't taught in school. No, they didn't go to detail and all that. So I started reading about that and going into details, getting the details, the horrific details I must add, and at the same time learning about colonization and what really went down here on the continent in the various countries. And I would say it was a life changing moment for me. I processed numerous emotions for months that I'm not sure. It's well, anyways, when I found that, it changed how I saw this world. Basically, now I watch movies that I usually watch, and I'm not thinking about, okay, when I watched them in the past, I'm not thinking about how many times I see a black person and how many scenes there are in the movie. Now I want to know how many black people did they get? Are they employing our people to act in this movie? And now I'm looking at stuff that before I would not look out for. And I've always wanted to somehow, you know, show my support and give my voice and say, I see you, and I I stand with you, you get. And I never knew how I would be able to do that before I decided that, okay, I should start showing my support via making videos, because we don't really do that here on the continent. We don't really like I don't know, my words are failing me right now, but basically I want to say I see what you're going through, and I am with you in this fight. I want to be with you in this fight. Would you let me join you? You get, we could not help years ago when it was happening, but now we can. And I believe we should help one another, right? So that's like the content on YouTube. The content on TikTok is way different though. It's about majorly Africa. But how did I even get here again? I can't remember how I got here. But
It's okay. I mean, I want you to understand, like, I talk to you a lot of times in the back and I tell you, about the impact that you're making. And I know that, you keep referring back to 2018 as really the start of your understanding of what the lies have been spread. And so I wanted you to get opportunity to see that we here, I'm in the Caribbean. Uh, the Teo brothers are in the States. But there's so many of us who we believe that the Most High is waking us up for a reason. Yes, He's waking us up to who we are as the house of Judah, but we have so many people on the continent that are a part of the 10 tribes of Israel that need to wake up and that are waking up. And we're grateful for those who are from like the Limba tribe, who are, standing up as the true Aaronic Levitical priest, that are waking our people up and helping us to see that all of the lies that have been spread to keep us separated rather than keep us united. And so, what I'd like to ask you, and then I'm going to give Jacoby a chance to ask you anything else that he would like to. But I'd like to ask you, could you tell us what are like two main things that you think that we particularly need to focus on as a people in order to unify and to stop being aggressive or hateful towards one another and believing the false narrative, whether it's your people directly on the content or our people that are spread out through the diaspora? What do we, from your perspective, need to learn or stop doing so that we can unify or start doing?
I feel one thing we need to stop doing is focusing too much on national. And this is something that I have been thinking about lately. I feel like as a people, we are too tied to these nationalities that we did not even create. We These nationalities were forced on us. Like they came down here and bordered us in and said, "Oh, you are Nigerian now, you are Ghana now, you are this now, and you're that." So these identities, first of all, they are not ours. Secondly, they kind of made us, I would say, how can I put this? They've made us in a way not care about our neighbors as much as we should, because now we are thinking, oh, it's Ghanaians, I'm Nigerian. It's not really our problem like that. You get, and not only that, it's it divides us in a way. because before all of this, we're just one people, just there. We had like different ethnic groups, but we're not divided by nationalities like this. Um, and when I see it, like there is also it also still plays a way in how we see ourselves versus how we see our African brothers and African American brothers and sisters, and how we see our brothers and sisters in the Caribbean. It's almost like I'm Nigerian, they are American, or African American, I'm Nigerian, but they are Caribbean. Because we have that identity thinking, oh, this is us and it's them. So I feel like it otherizes us. And I'm sorry I'm going, on and on like that, but I don't have like the best way. This is the best way I can put it right now. I feel like it otherizes us like that. So it's almost like tribing, but different from that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Ian Thompson. Nationalism is what separates us. So imagine a place where there is no Nigerian, there is no Ghanaian, it's just us. If I see something happening or if I hear something is happening in Ghana, I'm not thinking it's happening to the Ghanaians, I'm thinking it's happening to us, right?
Yeah.
If something is happening in Congo, I'm not thinking, oh, the Congolese, I'm thinking us, right?
Yes.
If I hear something is happening in the Americas, I'm not thinking the African Americans or the Americas or the Jamaicans. I'm thinking, oh, our people there, something is happening. So I'm
Yes.
not saying that people don't really care like that, but I feel like it's a subconscious barrier there that's like, it's not us, it's them. So it makes the other group, and now I don't want to call it another group because it's not an other group, it's our people, but it otherizes us because we've been separated using boundaries. If that makes sense. So that's one thing I would do. And I have stopped really thinking about myself like Nigerian. I mean, you can't help but say you are Nigerian because people want to know like which of the region you are from. um, so I have to say I'm Nigeria, so the people have an idea. But usually I don't like saying it after coming to this realization because I understand like what it means for me to say that I'm saying this is where I'm from and this is the people, but no, I'm not from those people. When I say I'm Nigerian, I feel like I'm saying I'm not those people. I'm Nigerian. I'm not Ghanaian. They are them and I'm me. So it's just crazy. So that's one thing. Um, Second thing um, I don't know, maybe if I think of something else. That was the very first one because it has been on my mind for a very long time now. So I was quick to give the response. But if the second one comes up, I'll let you know and add it.
Okay, okay, not a problem. And I love what you said there, because honestly, I can tell you since coming to know who I am as an Israelite daughter of the King, I'm telling you, my heart has been so much more knit towards the continent than ever before, and just absorbing and learning. And I have so much more that I have to learn, but I'm very grateful for people like yourself, people like Teo Ministries that go in and educate us about all the things that were taken from us. So now when I see news that's happening in one nation in the continent, it sparks my attention more than in the past. It would have been exactly like, oh, that's happening way over there. That doesn't affect me. No, now
Mm.
I realize that it does hurt me. It does affect me. And I don't want to see my people, no matter where they're spread, being hurt by the lies of the colonizers, being hurting one another because we have so much infighting between ourselves. But I don't want to
Yeah.
continue to see that. I want to see us all come together and unify under the banner of the Most High. You, Kobe, have anything that you'd like to add on that?
Well, please, before he comes in, there's something I want to say. Sorry, Yakoba. On you just made me remember something. You know the kind of videos I make. Do you know how many times I've had like Nigerians message me and they're like, "Ivy, what is your business? Like, why are you making videos as regards to what's happening with Americans? Like, you are Nigerian, you get."
Mm,
I have gotten those kind of, I've gotten emails, I've gotten comments in comment sections with people not understanding why I care. And this is what this nationality thing does.
yeah,
you
Yeah.
don't really there's a way it separates you, maybe some people that are writers or something that have like deep psychological thoughts, they can come up with a theory or something. I don't know best words to put it, but I'm trying here. There's a way it separates you from other group of people that are just like you, and it's weird. So you have another black person asking you, "Oh, why are you talking about their issues? It's none of your business. How about you talk about this instead? Or why don't you talk about that? Like, this is what I want to talk about. This is, you can't tell me what I want to do. This is something I'm passionate about. Like, and this is what I'm doing, right? But
Yes.
they don't see why I'm doing it because it's an African American problem. It's not a Nigerian problem. Same way some of them feel, oh, it's a Ghanaian problem. It's not a Nigerian problem. That's their issue, right? So I feel it's something we need to really think of or think about. And the way people hold on to these identities, like, come on, man, it's not even who you are. What's a Nigerian? What's a Ghanaian? What's a Congolese, or I think Congo, they renamed their country. But what are those things really? Am I Nigerian? I'm not. If you're being honest here, what is Nigerian? Who gave me that identity, right? So
Yep.
they come in, they name your country, they give you religion, they, according to them, civilized you, they gave you language. So now at the end of the day, who are you, right? It's like, do you even know who you are? But this nationality thing, it's a problem. And there are people that are moving, talking about how we should get rid of the continents. I'm sorry, we should get rid of the nationalities and the borders and make Africa into a country. People have been calling Africa a country for years. But now let's, if we can make it into a country, to be nice. So that people, make talking about us doing that.
I hear you
So
100%, and I see that's changing. But those old mindsets, they're going to change, but
yes,
they're going to change over time. All right, brother Jacoba,
yeah.
you were gonna ask EVA something.
Yeah, two questions. Um, if I remember correctly, you're Isan and Yoruba, right?
Esan and Urobo.
And so, like within the diaspora, well, let's say in the Israelite community here in the diaspora, we've been looking at the history of our people, both here and on the continent, looking at the documentation of what the Europeans say about us, right? And
Mm-hmm.
what I find is that most on the continent don't understand, especially those of Bantu heritage, don't understand that according to the white man in his history books, that you all are part of the tribe of Israel, that Judah was all over the continent of Africa, and that the Catholics came in, the Portuguese, the French, and they separated, created Nigeria, Ghana, all this, and made us individual people, and we're all cousins, right? According to their documentation, right? And so even when we put in our DNA and you know uh, ancestry and all of that, it shows us that we're related to you all. Okay, so my question is this: um, is there an interest in the true history of the continent, or is everyone just stuck in this paradigm of just Nigeria, Ghana, Tanzania, whatever? Because we really, I mean, between me and some other Israelites, we didn't put the whole pieces together. We know where Jerusalem. Let me put it this way: I know where the real Jerusalem is. The real Israel is the sub-Saharan Africa, all the way down to South Africa. I'm like, we didn't put the pieces together. Is there this hunger, let's say, on the continent to look at the true history? Because we've done the work and put it together. Because it appears to me they don't know, and it seems that they don't care because everyone seems to be chasing after the dollar, which is a deception as well.
I would say the majority don't. No, they don't. And that's because you have to know that something is a lie for you to go questing for the truth. If you don't know that something is wrong with the information you have, you're not going to be looking for anything because you believe that as fact. So the majority are not looking for anything outside of what they already know, because what they already know they've taken as facts, right? I think that's the answer.
That's
Thank you.
really sad. That that's really sad. But at the same time, I mean, I guess what we have to do is we have to be realistic. We have to think
Mm.
about the fact that it's it's taken hundreds of years to program our people away from loving one another, loving where we came from, everything about our culture. There was so much that even before the transatlantic slave trade or the Arab slave trade, or even the tribal wars that have taken place there in various nations on the continent, there's so much of a division amongst us as a people. And because there's so much division amongst us as a people, it's kind of hard to then expect overnight that now we're all going to just unify and see the enemy for what it is. But that's why we firmly believe that it's going to be supernatural, that the Most High is going to have to be the one to open up the eyes of his people spread all over the world. The same way that he woke us up in 2016, because, most of us, that's when we woke up over in the States and in the UK and in the Caribbean. We started waking up and reading the Bible from a different perspective. And we weren't looking for it. I mean, we were literally not sitting there looking for it. We were looking to be good Christians and to try to live our best life now and following the same pattern that you say many of our brothers and sisters on the continent are, which is to be able to make some money and make something of ourselves. And the Most High woke us up and said, "You've gotten the whole picture wrong. You don't understand why it is the way it is." But Psalm 83 tells us that the nations conspired to remove us from the remembrance of ourselves. So they've been working for a very long time, but before they even started working, we were working against one another. So we have to stop opposing one another. We have to stop in our small pockets. And this is why I'm big on faith, family, and the future of our community. And I tell everybody all the time, we have to deal with what's in house. And when we deal with what's in house, and then we can take it into our communities and we can build up from there, then we can start to work together. So I'm seeing that happen in small pockets. But for me, I don't think it's an impossible feat. I just think it's one that we need to recognize at the end of the day. It's going to be Yah breathe. It's going to be supernatural. It's not going to be something that is going to be a mindset shift overnight, because it's taken so long for us just to stop fighting one another. And we still have a long way to go. So, what are your thoughts about that?
Okay, I'm going to add to that and say, and this is going to be the second point to your original question. Um, yes, I totally agree with what you said. The fighting needs to stop. We've been going at each other for too long, and we're not. There's nothing to gain from all of this. So I don't even know what we are doing. Um, but to add to it, I would say that not only do we need to stop fighting, there's always going to be that one or two in the community that's going to always want to bring our leg out. But I feel like something that we need to do, all of us, is that we need to always call these people out. Like if someone says something they are not supposed to be saying, you call them out. If someone is moving or doing something they are not supposed to be doing, you call them out for it. If a Nigerian says something bad to African Americans or the Caribbeans, oh, I'm not going to say it's Nigerian. Who cares? Like, I'm going to call you out. Like, you are not supposed to say that. You need to stop that behavior, because um, that helps. It goes a long way. So the idea of us maybe shielding, I don't want to say our people, just wrong. Like, but you know what I mean? Like shielding those that come from our, immediate communities should stop, right? Because then we we can move forward. So the nationality thing needs to stop. The condoning people from our immediate environment doing bad things to other communities need to stop, because that just goes on to create more divide and more issues.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I agree with you. And I noticed that you did that on a couple of your videos, because y'all have your own versions of Candace Owens over there. And
Oh, we have them. We have them.
one of the TikTokers, and she, she was just, just saying things that were anti our unification. And you
Mm,
called her out. And I love the fact that you're saying we have to be deliberate when we see harm from our people toward our people, we have to call it out. I was
yeah.
watching a video the other day. It was a short, and it was a Black American girl, and she and her friend were kind of shadow boxing and talking about, well, they weren't talking, but they were basically showing what they would do whenever they get in a fight. And someone asked her, and I saw the person, that they knew who they were as Israel because it was in their name, and they're asking like, why would you post this? Like, what is the point of this? And she commented like, "Girl, bye." And I commented on her, no, she's asking a legitimate question. Why is it that you feel that our culture, is tied into constantly fighting one another? We need to stop making content, and we need to stop having our the mainstream narrative of stereotypical tearing us down. We need to stop projecting that in the culture, but oftentimes that gets the views. When we can be in disagreement and drama with one another, that gets the views. But if you talk about unifying us, when you talk about speaking life, when you talk about community and communication and being my brother's keeper, if you will, then it seems like that's an uphill battle because we're drawn to the negativity. That's why I say it's going to be something supernatural. I'm getting ready to ask some questions in the comment section. And while I'm looking for these questions, because my brother Karis asked a question, I'm going to ask you. I'm going to give Brother Yacoba an opportunity to ask you any more questions or make any comments that he would like to make.
Yeah. So I love your show, Sister Ivy. And, for me, my philosophy had to change where I had to put my people first, right? Some people don't like that. And when I say my people, I mean people of African descent. I put my people first, just like the scripture say to the Jew first, then to the Greek, right? I put my people first. That don't mean I don't worry about other people. My people first. It's like with anything, right? I'm gonna look for my family. I'm gonna look out for my mom, my dad, my sisters, my cousins. I'm gonna put all of them before I do the others. And what I see is this huge effort within the diaspora, within America, within the UK, even on the continent, is this push for integration, right? With the specifically with the Caucasians, right? And not even other nations, but specifically the Caucasians. I'm
Mm.
personally against it. I think the scriptures teach against it. What is your thoughts on that? Because there seems to be this abandonment of your own people for the other people, which my philosophy is that once you start marrying outside, your inheritance is going to go to the other people and not to your people. What's your thoughts on that?
So, the last thing you just said, I've been listening to Dr. Omar's video, and he's been saying like something like that, like when you marry out, your inheritance and your wealth and all of that just goes to, your new family that's not part of your people, and those people don't give back to the community. And on that note, I highly agree with him. I had never thought about it like that before, but when he puts it like that, I'm like, it makes sense. But when I think about interracial relationships, the thing is, you can't exactly tell people who they can and cannot be with. That I understand. And at the end of the day, people are going to do what they're going to do. Am I going to marry a white person? Presently, no. In the past, would I have considered it? Yes, I would. Have I dated a white person before? I kind of did for a few months. And Sister Shanda, this whole life is just being like moments of truth or something. But it was like a long distance relationship, so it did not really amount to anything. It was just like 2 months thereabout. It was a trial, but then I realized that I don't think I can, because my spirit was just saying no to it. So personally, I would not, because now I just can't. Not knowing what I know, and I just will not be able to stomach it personally. But telling people what to do, I mean, I can't do that. I still kind of feel like people are free to date who they want to date. It's not kind of, I still feel people should be free to date who they want to date. I feel it has to be like a personal decision if that's something you want to do, but I can't. Presently, I cannot.
Yeah, I could definitely understand where you're coming from on that. You can't control people, and the reality is that because we have, in America, we have such a big melting pot. And what we have to understand is that ideologically, we've been trained to look at that melting pot versus looking at us as a people group. Um, in America, every other group or ethnic group, they're allowed to focus on themselves. The Asians can focus with the Asians, the Arabs can focus with the Arabs, the Caucasians with the Caucasians. What we have this terminology called black and brown coalition. Everything that we do is attached to another group. Everything that we do in terms of building up ourselves it gets piggybacked on. And anytime we try to focus on who we are as a people, then we're shamed for it. So a part of that shift that has to take place in our mind is for us to be able to realize that being together in a merit unification is so important to the rebirth of a nation, if you will, because they understand. See, in America, there is, and not just America, but in the West overall, there is a birth decline within the white populace. So they understand in order for them to be able to keep their numbers up, that they have to be able to integrate with us. Why? Because we are the dominant society in terms of how we're biologically structured. So they understand that the melanin is going to continue to feed them so that they can continue to grow as a people. But that's not how it's pushed to us. All throughout the media, it's pushed to us with this black-white relationships. It's pushed to us with this, all the commercials are a black man, a white woman, or a white man and a black woman. Now, I firmly believe that Yah has the final say with who it is that you decide to marry, who it is that you decide to be with. Because if you're born again and your Caucasian brother or sister is born again and y'all fell in love and you didn't know who you were as Israel, then okay, who am I going to say anything like that to tell you, okay, you didn't know who you were. You didn't understand the importance of sticking with in your own blood. But that's not going to stop people from changing, because it's been a part of the mind control that if we stay within our own, I think, matter of fact, you might have even covered this not too long ago, that it was a brother, I don't know if he was some type of celebrity, and he said he only dates black women, and he got backlash for it. Okay. Yeah. That is exactly why we have an issue, because the reality is that if it was organic, if it was just like love is love, everybody love one another, then that would be one thing. But we understand that this is a part of the systemic undertaking of us to eradicate us as a people and only really feed off of our energy. So I do have brothers and sisters who are in interracial marriages. And I encourage them and I say, listen, you don't feel bad because you made a decision to be involved with somebody pre the understanding of who you were as Israel. You married that person. That's fine. Have a beautiful marriage with them and don't worry about what other people think about that. But when we as a people understand that the psychology behind putting us with other nationalities is not about love, it wasn't based on love, but it was based on survival, if you will, then their survival and our depletion, then you see it from a different perspective. And for me, I am married 17 years. And I will tell you that I'm grateful that I did marry a black man and have black children, because they are going to be the ones that we are together going to further the legacy for the next generation of who we are. We're going to further that legacy in-house. It's not going out anywhere. So that's my, that's my take on it. It's not an easy conversation or a discussion to have because we're pushed into this so much in our minds. But at the end of the day, we as a people need to understand that the Most High did have standards, and He wants us to be as obedient to those standards as we can in this land of colonialism, if you will. But with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and ask some questions real quick because after the question section is done, we're going to go ahead and wrap things up. And I'm so glad to just have had this build with both of you. But I want to ask from Brother Karras, what would be the best country to visit first in Africa? What's your
Mm. Can I say? I think I hear Kenya is a very lovely place. And Tanzania too is very lovely. So, and I hear a lot of people are going there. So, yeah, maybe I would recommend Kenya or Tanzania.
okay?
Yeah,
Very cool. Very cool. Kenya or what's the last one you said? I think you said
Tanzania.
That's what I thought. Okay. Yeah. Shout out to Tanzania. Hallelujah. Shout out to them. All right. BS. How can we move forward when every time African leaders stand up to the West, they are killed?
Now, this is another problem we face on this continent. Hi, BS. I know BS. I see his comments all the time on my my channel. Um, it's a very good question. And then when they kill them, they turn around and say, "Oh, you guys don't have good leaders. You guys don't have good plans." And it's crazy. And
Mm-hmm.
we have a good number of leaders they've killed like that. Whenever a good leader comes up and they see that, oh, this person is about to change things on the continent, this person have big dreams and big plans and is actively moving forward, trying to achieve these dreams and plans, they just unalive the person. They've done it a lot of times. They want to make sure that they are just puppets there, puppets that don't care about the people, puppets that don't even know themselves, puppets that care about nothing but their own gain. So that's it. That's why I have a lot of Nigerian politicians, for example, they have like wealth, buildings, establishments in the West. You know what that would do if you establish those in Nigeria, but so they're not loyal to the people. These are the only kind of people that they want ruling because they are the only ones that they can control. They want people that they can control to their own advantage and to our detriment. So when someone good comes up, they unalive the person. When they know they are not going to gain from the person the way they want to. Yeah.
Mm-mm-mm. Well, yeah. RIP to President Magufuli. That's a perfect example. Um,
Yeah.
a great leader, just taken out, unalived. All right, let me check down and see if I have any more questions here for you, and then we're going to get ready to wrap things up. These comments are way down, and I haven't been looking at them. All right, let's take a look. Let's take a look a little bit more. All right. Okay, I'm not seeing any more particular questions, but I'm going to give y'all an opportunity. Oh, okay, this is about the Nehemiah and Ezra. Let me see this question. And what do you guys think about Nehemiah and Ezra, where the children were called to put away their strange wives after they returned from Babylon captivity? That's a good question. That's a good question. Brother Jacoby, you want to tackle that one?
I've thought about that, but since we're under grace, and according to the scriptures, and I know all of the Israelites don't agree with this, some of the Gentiles are considered sons of God, right? That I'm not sure what the status is with that, because I mean they were under the strict covenant of the old covenant, which means that they had to put them away because the law says this, there was no wiggle room. But under grace, love trumps a lot of it. So even though we're supposed to obey the commands, but in terms of putting them away, there's love and there's mercy and there's grace, and love trumps everything. So I say everyone be led by the Spirit on what to do with that. I would never tell you to put away your spouse. That's between if the Most High tell you that, that's between you and Him. I would never tell you that. So that's my position.
That's right. We ain't getting sued around here for telling you so. Okay, Star says, how can we move forward when slavery of Black people is still happening in Arab countries? What can we do to stop this from happening? That's a tough one.
If the continent is not built up to standard, people are forever going to want to leave. That's the thing. People are only leaving because they're in search of something that they don't have here. So if we can get the continent up to standards, people can get jobs and can have a good life. Nobody's going to leave their comfort zone. People leave when they're not comfortable. So until we can fix the issues in this continent or on this continent, there's nothing we can do about what's going on in Kuwait or Saudi Arabia or Dubai. Literally nothing we can do. And it's
Yeah.
sad. You can't stop them from going. People want to take the risk. People are going by sea, getting lost in the ocean and dying there and washing up at the shores, different shores everywhere. And people are, see, when people are not getting what they want, there is no risk they would not be willing to take. No risk. So now people are saying, I'll take my chances with the sharks. I might have better chances with the sharks than I
I
even have in my country. I
Wow.
could go and come out successful. So it's about fixing the continent. Until we do that, there is nothing we can do in Arab or in the Arab nation or what's happening in the Arab nation. There's literally nothing we can do.
Well, one of the things that I think needs to be spread abroad on the continent is to stop listening to the propagators of their colonialization and start trusting their neighbor. Start trusting us, because even when our people want to go over there and build and want to assist, you know, there's rumors, there's reports that we have malicious plans. And it's not us. It's not us. Many of us in the West that grew up in the church, we saw the missionaries that were going there, they were Caucasian. 99% of the missionaries that went there are Caucasian. And we didn't even get the opportunity to be a representation over there to our own people that are over there, by and large. So it's like we've been deliberately held back from being able to integrate with our people on the continent. And then now we're in a position where we're like, okay, well, we want to give our expertise, we want to give our time, we want to give, our skill set to be able to build the continent and help make it what it once was. And there's so much distrust of us. I don't understand it. Particularly in East Africa, there seems to be a lot of distrust of us. But it's okay to trust the Arabs. It's okay to trust the Asians. It's okay to trust the Europeans. But don't trust Black people in the diaspora. That seems to be what we see a lot of just on our end. Me particularly talking to people I know on the continent that they've dealt with. So, what are your thoughts about that?
Black people generally have distrust for black people. We don't trust one another. You see that white is good, white is right, white is best, white is pure and can do no wrong. That is it. A white person can come up to a black person today and they literally could have never met this person, don't know this person from any source whatsoever, and they just trust the person because the person is white. There is this notion that they have that they're honest, they are pure. They What can they do? Nothing. They just it's white people. Some people even like break up with their boyfriends and they're like, oh, I have to go get a white guy. They don't cheat on you, they are honest, they don't lie, they upfront tell you the truth. Even if he's cheating, he'll tell you I'm cheating on you or something. Like there is a certain perception people have, and they have the direct opposite when it comes to black people. So it's not because you are African American or from the Americas that they don't trust you. They don't even trust us here. You get, so we don't trust ourselves. Yeah, sad.
So, Sister Evie, just a quick question. Um, you know what happened in the world over the last 2 years, right? I'm talking cryptically because of the channel world. What happened over the
Mhm.
last 2 years, and many of the Israelite community believe we're the targets, especially also you all on the continent, which is why in the beginning they were painting in the media that you all were affected more uh, by that than the rest of the world. But then we find out later on that's not true. Are you all aware of the agenda or not?
We all are not aware of the agenda. Just one or two there. I don't know the number of people that are. We don't even know there is an agenda. We don't know. See, here on the continent, we are living in a bubble, in a very sad, pathetic bubble. The reality here is very different. We don't know there is a depopulation agenda. We don't know that, the Rona was supposed to have rid us of this continent. We don't know. I don't even know where to start from. The thing is, I was just like every other person here, going with the program of not knowing. And but the thing is, when you know, you cannot unknow. When you see, you cannot unsee, and that's how I got here. You just can't keep quiet about it. If you are want to come online and talk, you come online and talk. If you want to wake people up. So those that know have been trying to, let people know that something is going on. Something is going on. Why is there a depopulation agenda and they want to start from Africa? When literally China is overpopulated than the whole continent of Africa. We have more people in China than we have on this continent, but we are the target. So we don't know. The majority don't know.
Yeah, and the scriptures, and most of them don't know. The scriptures tell us why we're the targets because we're the Most Highest people, and I think once we all wake up to that, everything will work out.
Hopefully everything
Absolutely.
works out
Absolutely. And we are
soon.
people of faith for that reason. We walk by faith and not by sight, not the way things currently look. For the last 2 years, and everybody knows what we're talking about, we've seen the entire thing turn around on their heads. One of the things that Tail Ministries has really, opened up a lot of our eyes to is that after 2019, um, all hell broke loose. And it's been 400 years, 1619 to 2019, 400 years. And we have seen all over the world that there is calamity and it is raising, it is rising. And I believe that that is exactly the hand of Yah to open up the understanding of his people. Because it seems to me like, I'm just going to put it like this. We are people that, we need a good butt whooping sometimes so we understand. Like, oh, mama, you said put that cookie down. Okay, you meant it. So we sometimes have to see disaster coming before we're willing to recognize that we need to change. We need to stop adopting to the fantasy that is the fantasy world that's been put in front of us and open up our eyes. And more of us are doing that every day. More and more of us are saying, you know what? Something is really, really wrong. And that gives us opportunity to say, you know what's wrong? This is wrong. We have the wrong mindset. We've been living in a matrix and it's time to wake up. So this is a part of just this build that we're having, what we're doing individually. I believe that is calling us to individual tasks for individual reasons. What he's calling you to do over there, why he chose to wake you up and give you an understanding and have you as a voice to unify our people spread abroad, and how he's using Teo Ministries to speak that prophetic watchman word into the culture, into us as a people. And me, how he's having me to do with building us up in our homes so that we understand that if our homes are out of order, that the rest of the pieces are not going to fall together because that's the foundation. So he has us on a mission, on separate missions, ultimately for his glory. And I believe that it's going to work for our good. But we have to stay on the front lines. I believe that he's called us to be these pioneers, and we're pioneering and we're showing forth the works of the Most High in our own ways. So I am just so excited that, I got you to come on. And, this has just been very eye opening. It's been very enlightening. And I hope, especially for my brothers and sisters who are on the continent, that y'all know that we love you and that I don't care what the Western media portrays about us. We are, as EVA said, we're in this together. We really are. We're struggling over here. It's not as though it's painted in the media, but our struggle is for the sake of progress. As Frederick Douglass said, without struggle, there is no progress. We are progressing as a people, and we are anticipating when we can all come back together and we can love one another the way we are intended to. So I'm going to go ahead and get some final words. I'm going to start with Brother Yakova and move to EVA.
Yeah, I want to thank you, Sister Shonda, and also you, Sister Ivie. Thanks. It's good to hear your voice. And just to let you all know, like Sister Shonda said, we love you all, and we're here for you. If you need us, whatever you want, whatever you need, we're here, because we're not going to be separated anymore. We want to unite with our continent. We're looking forward to coming back home and being with you all. And we're looking forward to what we call the second Exodus, which is where we all return, all of the diaspora around the world, back to the continent. So keep doing what you're doing, and let the rest of African brothers and sisters know that we love them.
Hallelujah. Sis, go ahead and take it home. We need to hear from you. Tell us what your thoughts are. And again, thank you for all that you're doing.
Okay, I want to say thank you very much, Sister Shanda, for bringing me on. This has been a very, lovely 1 hour, 40 minutes so far that we've been here. It's been nice talking to you and Brother Yakuba. Again, I want to say I love my Black people worldwide, no matter how you identify. I am you and you are me. I see myself in you, and I feel you and I feel your pain, and I feel very strongly connected to you, and I'm here for you. Any way, shape, or form, I'm for my people till the day I die, and I would forever have you guys in my heart. You will forever be in my heart, and I'm here for you. I'm not Nigerian, I'm African, and you are African too, and I see you every time I take you with me. So it's we have so much that we need to do, and I hope we'll be able to go on this journey in love and come out victorious. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Well, this has been amazing, amazing. And we must continue to have these builds. Since you and I are going to continue to connect in the background, anything we can do to support, we definitely want to do so. But just know, all of us who are listening, that the work that we're doing is not in vain. The hope that we have is not in vain. We must continue to be steadfast. We must continue to move forward with intentionality, that we're going to walk by faith and not by sight. We must do the hard work of dealing with what's on the inside of our homes and in our communities. And then we're going to spread abroad, and we're going to go back home when the Most High calls us, and we are going to build, because we know that Jacob is getting ready to wake up. That Lion of Judah is waking his people up, and we are going to be restored to what it is that we were supposed to be restored to. And for all our Gentile brothers and sisters who are grafted in, we love y'all too, and just help us to continue to do the work. Now, if you want to help us do the work, then please subscribe to our channels. If you are not already subscribed, go over to Ivie Anita. Her information is over in the description link, and you can check her out on YouTube as well as on Instagram. You can reach out to her in an email if you have a question that you'd like to ask her separately. It's all in the description link. And definitely support Teo Ministries as well. Go to their channel. And if you're not subscribed here at Ashonda at Large, what you doing? Come on, subscribe. Check out Ivie Anita's channel. She did a phenomenal job for me. I appreciate the work that she did and promoting my book, Girlfriend Mentality to Wife Reality. If you've not grabbed your copy, you can check in the description link and you can grab a copy of that as well. Or check me out on Brew Talk, Personal Development and Family Coaching if you'd like to have some coaching into your life. I'd love to support you. So thank y'all so much, family, for being here tonight and supporting us. My sister EVA is way past her bedtime, so I'm going to let her go. And thank y'all again for all your love and your support. And until next time, family, as always, love yourselves without hating your enemies. Until next time, y'all bless. And salam.
Thank you. Bye.